lot of traffic, but just take the seat and we're going to start it. Maybe in the front row because I will ask you a few questions. Yeah, you know, you cannot come to the bird and not talk with anybody alive, of course. So good morning, everyone. Welcome to the first bird demo day. We are so proud that we reached here. And so my name is Željko, for those who don't know me. Željko, please manage bird coordinate in the bird. Just not let anybody to unmute themselves in Zoom before we talk.
Okay.
Thank you, Sven. So yeah, you just need to mute them, or please, anybody who is on the Zoom, just mute yourself until it's your time to speak, if we allow you. So as I said, it's a great milestone for the bird today. This journey started 10 months ago. Officially, the preparation started a few months before, you know, and I don't know what was cooking in Dražan's head even before that to wanted to start just another project in his life, because he wants to be, and he is everywhere, the guy with the energy. And as you know, it's all of us who are in the startup area in Croatia knows how it's hard to find good startups in Croatia. And when we started and said, okay, we wanted to have the AI startups here in a bird, that was even crazier. But then the idea was, you know, why just stay in Croatia? Let's go internationally. Yeah, and we get some great startup all the way from India to England. So yeah, it was a good call. And today you will see 6 startups who finished their journey with us for the last 6 months and who were successful in doing the program. We had some more, but they didn't finish. As you know, not every startup that starts can finish the project, but I think that what we done with the guys, I think we did it great. So we have a really good success rate of the one who will, and some of them will continue the journey with us. But before you hear pitches, I just want to have a brief talk with Dražan, the guys who had started all of this. So Dražan, can you join me here, please? Can we get a warm applause? Yeah, that's Dražan. Okay, we're going to join Mike. I will give you Mike, you know, to talk. So this is the man you all know, and he's dropping out of the pate or the can. You know, for the ones who don't know, it's hard to say in English, but the pate come in cans. And for everybody who is always around the news and media and social media and everywhere, you know, we say that he's jumping out of the pate can. So, Dražan, are you happy with what Bird achieved so far? And is it in the line with the expectation that you have in the beginning?
I'm very happy, and I think we achieved much more than we have planned. We had an idea when we started this incubator that we will be able to maybe attract 1 or 2 teams that will be not from Croatia in this year. And actually half of our teams are not from Croatia, and we have a lot of applications from all over the world. And the idea is to put Croatia on AI map of Europe and world, and I think we kind of overreached our expectations. And actually already 3 of our teams got funded with seed investment during their span here in the incubator. So we have a lot of great mentors, a lot of great partners. We have also a lot of events that we are organizing here. I think this incubator is quite a hot place in Zagreb now. So I have every reason to be really, really happy and satisfied with what we have done. And I personally want to thank you, Željko, because you are great incubator manager and coordinator.
I just wanted to ask if you feel the same about me, but okay, thank you for bringing this up. It was not in the question that I prepared for him, but you know, Dražan always think about others. So what Bird Incubator brings to Croatian startup community and tech community? Do you see some effects that this what we done in the last year had some effects on the community? Do you see, you know, IT scene happy because what we do here, they stand behind this incubator?
Yes. I think that we are making the difference along with the other colleagues that we are working with. We have a great support of CRO-AI Association. We also have great support of TSEX. They are also quite a lot here having their meetings and board meetings. Also, many of board members of those organizations are mentors here or managers in the incubator. So I think we have really good synergy of all those organizations and good startups and good international startups and good international partners and mentors and VCs. So we are cooking something that's really good.
Okay, that's great. And the last question, the future plans. I can tell them, but why don't you tell them the future plans for the bird?
Of course, it's a global domination. Like,
Of course.
you always need to dream big. Yeah, so this first year was mostly financed by Poslovna Inteligencija. We also have some industry partners and sponsors, and we have also some revenue from rental for the events. But the idea is to create a business plan and put it to life where incubator would be self-sufficient. So to have enough financing, either through sponsorships or through EU funds or to paid programs, to be able to have this all infrastructure sustainable for many years to come and many more generations of.
Okay, thank you, Dražen. Big warm. You have a question for Dražen. No, probably this, but do you want us to turn this on so you can hear better? Because okay, this is mainly here for the guys from India and Slovakia. Okay, yes, you can go. Thank you, Dražen. Warm of applause. He's a modest man, but he really do a lot of stuff here for Croatia. Thank you, Dražen, for everything that you do. You know, not all of folks want to get in front of the line and do everything. And before we continue, so we have an ambassador with us, Mr. Raj. Can you just come here, please, and warm applause for welcome for Mr. Raj. We really love dearly Mr. Raj here. You know why? Because when we announced that we're having Indian startups here in the Bird, and it was through the local media, and then we got the call, Dražen got the call, you know, from the ambassador's office, you know, Mr. Raj noticed what you do. Can we come here? We want to support. So, you know, it's not like the usual stuff that a lot of ambassadors are coming to the places of the tech community. Especially when they're where it's not focused only in Indian startups, but you know we really love what you're doing for the tech. And can you just for the audience here and the one online say something briefly about startup ecosystem in India? How do you see it? How they doing, and how can we work together?
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be with you here. I came here, as you mentioned, on my own volition almost a year back. When I saw the news about Bird Incubator. And the reason is because India is changing in a very fast way. So Indian diplomacy is also changing. Diplomacy is no more about the privileged information. It's about development. Can diplomacy create development avenues? And that's the focus of India in general. That's why all of us as part of the government are trying to contribute whatever space that we have. So as a diplomat here, one of my key priority has been to connect people of the two countries. And when you are looking at people of two countries, when you look at people of India today, what I call new India, it's about innovation. It's about solving problems yourself so that you are self-reliant and not dependent on others. This is the key motto of New India. If you are waiting for somebody else to solve your problems, you will keep waiting and the negativity of the society will actually destroy the society. India today has a huge demographic challenge, which is quite the contrary to what Croatia has. We have demographic surplus. You have demographic deficit. So our challenge is very different than yours. The challenge in our side is how to create the skills in this demographic surplus so that they are self-reliant. And that's why this startup revolution is a mandatory thing for India to do, so that it is a skill-based education. You create your own ideas, you solve it, and the government supports it so that your ecosystem grows. This is what has happened in last 5 years. In 2016, Government of India launched a program called Startup India. Indian unicorns had already established, like first unicorn in India came in 2013. It does not mean that a Startup India created unicorns, but what it did is created a movement. So there were two startups which were unicorns when Startup India was launched. Today we have 100 startups. There are two studies, one by Credit Suisse in March this year, which says that there are 100 unicorns in India. There is another way to look at it, which is a Startup India way. Based on registrations of startups, we have 65 unicorns. So whichever way you see, from 2 to 65 or 2 to 100, it's a very big journey in just 5-6 years. How it has happened? It has happened because we looked at different part of the ecosystem and tried to strengthen it. So I would categorize 5 levels. One, first of all, value the startup. Startups are risk takers. So you need to help them so that if they fail, they should not be feeling that nobody is there to support them. That's why it is important that you support the startups in terms of no taxation for them. For the first 7 years, 3 years, there are no taxation. And if you are making losses, you can carry forward losses so that you end up paying no tax for 7 years. And in 7 years journey, if you are not able to establish yourself, that means your idea was not good. You should move on with life. So that's why it is a very good way to provide incentive, but also tell you to check yourself that you can't go on for long if an idea is not functioning. So this is first level where you help the risk takers take risk with some bit of cushion and insurance that the government provides. And it's not only government, it is provided by the state government, it is provided by the public sector, it is provided by the private sector. So a lot of startups in India today are supported by the big companies like Larsen and Toubro, Mitsubishi, or Maruti Suzuki. Suzuki is a Japanese company. It has a big incubator in Gurgaon, which supports anything related to auto ancillary products. Any startup which comes with good idea, which they can put it in the Suzuki, they support that. So that's why I'm saying it is a multi-dimensional support system which helps the risk takers to take risk for 7 years. And if you are successful, you can go into the unicorn journey. First level is supporting the risk takers. Second, support the incubators. Bird Incubator is doing a wonderful job, but in India today, there are huge numbers of incubators. It's important that the technically savvy people help you to take to the next flight. It's very easy to become $10 million company, but 10 to 100 and 100 to unicorn is the bigger journey. For that, you require mentors, you require incubators. That is another support level that Government of India has started doing since we launched Startup India. Third, everything cannot be done by the central government because India is a huge country. So you need to create the virtuous circles among the states of India. So the Government of India started a policy of recognizing which states are doing first in terms of best support to the startup ecosystem. And we ended up creating a challenge within the states. So the central government awards money to the state governments based on their performance of what they have done to their own startup ecosystem. So this is very relevant that you are actually what you call delegating powers and creating a democratic opportunities at the level of peoples at the states. So this is the third level where central government supports and incentivize the state government to do more what central government is doing for the whole country. Fourth level, this is very important because when you are in the unicorn journey, that means you are jumping very fast. You need to be very clear about interacting with them in terms of policy framing. Because for example, a startup in India which became unicorn in the cryptocurrencies, they are establishing a crypto exchange, but crypto policies of the government are not yet finalized in the whole world. So interact with them because they are the startups. They have understood the whole world probably better than the government. So they actually help government in policy making with regard to cryptocurrencies. So I'm just giving you one example where it is not only creating startups and unicorns, but also learn from them to improve the government policies so that it becomes a virtuous circle at all level. And the last level is about not only that you help people to create ideas, you give them ideas. So that is what is called challenge. We create startup challenge at different levels where we give ideas on platforms so that the startups can respond to those ideas. So that you are not solving problems, finding yourself. The problems are there on the screen and you actually provide solutions in the journey to become a bigger startup. So I think these are the 5 levels on which we have worked for last 5 years. And that's why startup revolution for India is going to be now for next 2 decades, a real journey where India is trying to become a 10 trillion economy from 3 to 5 and then to 10. When we will be 10 trillion economy, we won't be looking at startups because if you look at Japan, the startup ecosystem of Japan today is very small. Why? Because they have solved all their problems. So startups are not needed to solve the problems. What startups are doing in Japan are technical issues. For example, new technologies. They are not doing the kind of startups that India is doing because India is, I would say 60% of Indian startups are actually solving societal problems, which are not there in Japan. So if I compare 20 years down the line, Indian startup ecosystem will be very different than today. But this journey we know we have to go through. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you a lot for the insight. I hope that somebody from Croatian government try to call you and ask you about such things, because they can learn a lot. And we had the Chinese people building a bridge here in Croatia, but I heard that you are also building some bridge in Croatia. So we heard some rumors. What is it about?
That's a very good way to put a question, which I forgot to mention, but very nice. I must mention what Drazen started with in his intervention today. He said that we have exceeded much more beyond what we imagined when we started. And this is one of the key focus of a startup should be that you should dream big, you should not dream small. You should never plan your outcomes. What you should plan is your process. And that's why you will always surprise yourself in terms of outcomes. I'm telling it because I also did the same when I came here. When I came here, I came from Japan, where we established in 2018 India-Japan Digital Partnership with the visit of Prime Minister Modi to Japan, where Prime Minister Abe and Prime Minister Modi launched India-Japan Digital Partnership. What was the objective? Objective was to give the comfort to the community that it is being recognized at the topmost level. It was happening. It was nothing new, but it was a comfort to the startups that my prime ministers are supporting me. It is very important what you said, that the government should support that risk taker. So that was the objective. In 2 years' time, there have been 225 startups of India which have been invested upon by Japanese multinationals. So this is a real success story. So I came with that kind of background and looked at Croatia, and I was thinking one option could be that it's a very small ecosystem, naturally, because the population-wise, you are 1/300 of the size of India. But bottom up, there are many opportunities. And I can share with you, every time I go to a small city like Samobor, I went to your incubator there. There were 8 startups, and I was so pleasantly surprised. 3 out of 8 have India connections, not the small ones, the big ones. One of them is getting its algorithm for drones for agricultural fields written by Chennai. One other one is making a modular electronic switches, not modular, made to order, which is a very unique technology because modular switches is like you have to fit it in the smart building, but this one makes based on the order. He has got a big order from Ahmedabad, the smart city. All this is happening without our support. That means there is huge opportunity there. If you connect the two, you will find those opportunities harnessed. That is why I am starting to establish this India-Croatia startup bridge with Hamag Bikro, Bird Incubator is part of it, and from Indian side is Startup India. This is all ready, hopefully by end of this year, and if not end of this year, January 2022, we will establish it. India has such startup bridges with 11 countries. Croatia will be the 12th country.
We are like we are really appreciate to come in such a great society, and community. Thank you, Mr. Raj. Can we get a warm round of applause? Now let's start with the demo day. You will see 6 startups. 2 of them will be online, one from India, one from Slovakia. And after each pitch, so you can ask the question. I know that we don't have people only from investor side here, but if you like to ask any kind of question is why this product is good for me, and can you receive 100 kunas from me to invest in you for 10%? I don't know, any kind of question live or you online. If you want to ask a question, there is a little hand like this in the bottom, and you can raise the hand, and my colleague Sven will look at you, and he will tell me there is an online question, and you can ask them, and then we unmute you. You will unmute yourselves, and you can ask the question. So first, we're going to start with Culture Pulse. There is Maya with us. Can we encourage Maya with one applause? So with that, you can know all the insight you want to know about your audience. If you're a brand, you will know the audience, and I will leave Maya to tell the rest. Maya, here is the mic.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Željko. So first of all, before I start, just a big thank you to Željko and Dražen. This is just a huge support for us, and for us, especially myself, this means just living out of the comfort zone. And so thank you for this, really appreciate it. So we are a startup actually from not only Croatia, but actually Slovakia, Norway, and US. And so my team is all around the world, but for 2 years now, we're kind of stick together. We are not just coworkers, we are really good friends, and we wish this to come true. Our core mission, what we're trying to do is basically helping brands to understand what customers think. I will first start by talking about the problem that we kind of discovered along the way working with our clients. A lot of them were basically saying that they're only measuring views and likes, and what they would like to see more is actually understand how people feel about certain products or services. And also for a lot of brands and early startups doing focus group, they're biased and they're taking too long. And the research is sometimes too expensive, actually. The best analogy I could think of, and with the help of a friend, is basically to describe our product that is something relatable to all of us. I'm sure that sometimes we have this thought in our head after a date, oh, it would be just great if I knew what the other person is thinking about me. And unfortunately, I cannot promise you this will happen in our first version of the product. But actually, what we can do for you is having this problem resolved for if you're a brand or a startup for your customers, so that at least you know what they are thinking about you. So, for example, let's say you have your reports about likes and views and everything, but what about if you have a report about personalities? So let's say you're selling fishing gear and you're trying to sell online. And with this report, you see that among your audience, your average person are men who have really low in extroversion. That means that they're basically introverts. And so what that means that probably the best ads that you would display to them would be something like this, having a picture of a fisherman alone somewhere on the seaside by themselves with their thoughts and probably thinking what I have done wrong to my wife. And so this might help to make your customer decision and to discover them personalities. In a nutshell, what we're kind of trying to offer you is that the platform actually predicts how your customers use and feel and have thoughts and what motivates them about purchase. And I'm glad that I have met this the people that I'm working with. They're scientists, and this is something that actually exists under the hood. And it's been developed in Oxford for 10 years now. And kind of our dream is to come alive so that we would have something like this, simple enough like Google Analytics, so that anyone can actually understand and do it by themselves. And also, we are not working with any historical data, and we currently support 50 languages. So this is basically perfect for any marketeer, any brand that can actually do any kind of cost-effective research, because you are able to do A and B testing a lot of times in a safe environment, but with real audience, real people, and get just instant feedback before you actually post anything. Because currently, if you use a lot of tools for A and B testing, you're waiting a lot, basically, and you have to wait until you have the right data. But with this, you don't have to wait anything, because you can get instantly data from real audience. When it comes to our competition, there are a lot of competitors on the market. The market is really huge, and a lot of them are really doing a great job. But what we are doing, I would think better than them, or we're trying to do, is basically we're not just gathering a lot of information about sentiment analysis and basically saying what others are, what is positive or negative. We are also providing information on why something positive or negative, so that they actually understand how your customers feel about your products. And this is a huge market. The projection is that will reach almost $18 billion by 2027. So there are a lot of spaces in this market. For the business model, what we discovered basically with the current research that we are actually doing with our clients is that for a lot of startups and individuals that are actually just starting their business, we would offer some kind of basic plan for them. But with the teams or brands that are more established, know what exactly they want to research, we will offer a pricing model, and also another customers for our agencies. And for them, we will offer customized based product. What we have done basically so far this year is, so we finalized first everything that is under the hood. The APIs are basically working, and we already have clients that are using them, which is great. And because we already tested them and we provided something that is useful and actually working. And another thing, what we're trying to do is develop a product. So we are doing a lot of prototyping, a lot of product research, and we are always testing with our real clients. So we gathered the feedback, and now we finally understand what is needed on the market, and we have the features that we want to implement in our first version. And with the investment, basically what we're trying to do is start working on the development and have it done by third quarter in the next year. And also try to think of what would be our next version of the product. Our core team consists of currently 4 people. Justin and Laron are co-founders. They both have PhDs in anthropology and psychology, and they're from Oxford and Princeton. And we have Brian Switchko. He is working as a Reddit consultant, and he's also working with Will Caddy, who is global director at Reddit, Karma Lab. So this is a new division that actually Reddit has to help their brands understand Reddit. And so we also work in partnership with them. And myself, I'm working as a product manager. I'm like a glue that's trying to understand what is needed on the market and what actually Justin and Laron are trying to do and how the system works. And I'm currently working at Microsoft accessibility team. But all of us actually wish to have the investment so that we can actually start working on the product we actually believed it would work. So our current customers and partners are government agencies and different agencies that are working for a lot of different markets. So for example, what I would like to mention is that we have an agency that just started. It's a micro agency, actually co-founded by former Netflix and HBO executives. And for them, we're doing script analysis. So that actually they can send a lot of scripts and pitch to Netflix and HBO and Amazon. But a lot of research and good findings we can have from them. And so this is our current network. So our goal is actually to raise 500K. And what we're trying to do with this investment is basically build a team in Zagreb, have team of developers, data scientists, designers, actually the whole crew that actually can build this platform, and also to incentivize our marketing and sales activities. Thank you very much.
I don't need a pointer. I just need this mic. Thank you, Maya. Any question for Maya? Here. Okay, here.
One customer minds. Can you explain that de-radicalization part? The explanation that was given there, it's very interesting. I just wanted to know if you know what is the actual project there.
Thank you for the question. So Minds is actually a social network of 4 million people. And we basically just started working with them, and they're interested is to see how the radicalization has effect, because there are a lot of fake news basically on Facebook and a lot of fake accounts, and this is actually becoming a huge problem. And so they would like to explore, and since we are also working with, I have to say, Reddit and Twitter data, which are more transparent. So in conjunction with them, we're still working on the model that would be provided, but
I I didn't quite understand the example with buying something for phishing. Where do you collect data to get someone's personality profile?
great question. So we are basically, for this kind of matter, we would provide you Reddit and Twitter data. So basically on Twitter, especially Reddit, there are a lot of communities that basically are talking about niche topics that are close to them. And they really express how they feel about certain topics. So we are, what we do is we're trying to understand what kind of words are related to this topic. So by defining those words, we will actually understand what kind of feelings are related to them.
Just back to the products. Are you saying that your algorithm is basically going through the words used and then using some methodology to interpret it into quote unquote feelings? Is that the research that's coming out of Oxford and Princeton?
Yes, exactly. And this is something that is actually 10 years worth of research. And yeah, almost. We are owning it. Justin and Laron are owning it, the IP. Some of it, yes, but they are holding the IP. Yeah. They were working with them, but it's their own kind of personal, and everything is written as it is. Yeah.
So if I understood correctly, you also said that the difference between your company and other competitors on the market is that you actually can say to your clients why somebody likes or hates the product. So how do you validate this conclusion? Why? I mean, how do you validate your conclusion? And also, can you tell us a little bit about the company? I mean, have you also already established a company for this startup? What is the what are the next steps with regard to this?
Yeah, so the company is already exists for 2 years now. It's a Slovak entity. It's actually called Allen Analytics, and Culture Pulse is the name of the product that we are building. And to answer to your first question, how to validate them. So as I said, we are trying to understand the question why, and under why that can be feelings, motivations, behavior, personal interest. So there are all sorts of, it's called psychographic mapping. So all those categories, we are looking at all of them basically to tell you what what kind of feeling ultimately a customer have about your product.
Okay, great. Is there any question online? No. Okay,
Yes.
thank you, Maya.
Yes, I have a
Round
question.
of applause for Maya. Okay, thank you. It was great presentation. Thank you. Tom has a question. Maya, sorry. Tom has a question for you.
Thanks. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Test, test. Check, check. 1, 2, 1, 2. Tell me when you can hear me.
Yes.
Okay, great. Thanks. Thanks for the presentation. 2 questions. One is about, you said you have a number of clients already using your API and you are doing research and prototyping with them. So how many clients are there and what kind of clients are these?
Okay, so our first client that we just started working with is actually Minds. Minds is a social network of 4 million people. The next one is actually Reach, the agency called Reach. They are doing the market research. Actually, they're working with Nestle and a lot of big brand companies. And we are also working with the Secret Order Studios. So they're kind of boutique agency for which we are providing script analysis. So basically, they're just sending us scripts and we are comparing them to whatever is on Reddit and Twitter. And we are saying basically, I can just say this, what kind of movies, what topics would people like to see? Also with the actors, who would fit best? So, and it's very interesting, different niche of a product similar to what we are doing, but a lot of discovery for us. And also we are working with the studio from New York called One. And our partner, Brian, who is working with actually Reddit's agency, Karma Lab. So the agency is called Karma Lab, and we are working with them mainly. So those are kind of our customers.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks. And the second question, how far are you with raising the next round? So you said you're looking for 500K. You're just starting. How deep you're into that? You're in talks, and by when do you need that money?
I would say as soon as possible. We are prepared. Let's say under the hood, everything is done. The APIs are working, and we already know what we are trying to build with regards to front-end development, basically. We already have serious conversation with one Slovak investor. But of course, we are open to have co-investment, and obviously we are really open to have this conversation. But from January 1st, we would like to have this team start building in Zagreb.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vuk. I think that, yeah, okay. What? Of course we like. Of course they will be in birth. And imagine, Mr. Ambassador, what this machine can do for Bollywood. It can have even more impact, the Indian films. Okay, so as we're talking about India, we are going now to India. Raja Sankar, do you hear us? I hope you are here.
Yeah, I can.
Of course, you are here.
Yeah.
Okay, can you please share presentation and start talking about what you developed?
Sure.
Okay, we see your screen, and you can start talking. We hear you.
Yeah. Hi, my name is Raja Shankar. I'm from Chennai. The company name is Natural Text. This is our language understanding company working on deep tech AI. And I also say hello to our ambassador there, Raj Kumar. So let me start. So what is the state of the AI and what we are doing in and how is this going to help? So to begin with, today we have more information, more devices, more internet connectivity, more data. Everyone is putting their statuses, videos, images, and everything. And even in the academic field, you have thousands of papers per conference. Even the niche fields like AI and ML gets a 3,000 to 5,000, sometimes 7,000 papers at a time, and then they have to go through that. Everybody has to go through the papers and trying to find out. And what happens actually that in several cases, once you post your paper in Twitter, somebody else will come and tell you that, okay, this is done by somebody else, or there is a similar idea. So what happens is that there is a more noise coming in. The information is getting noisier, and the attention spans are shrinking. And the problem is, how do you find your matchmaking, or if you want to do something, or if you want to know unknown, how do you find that unknown? That is the major problem. If you take the traditional way of finding information, you have a Google, you go and type it, or today you go to Twitter or Facebook, you type your keywords, and then if you don't get anything, you do this repeat search, rinse, repeat, read your papers, then reformat the keywords, rinse, repeat every time. What happens is that the problem is the misinformation. Once you have a misinformation or something, this is the Bernoulli's law. The more energy is needed to counter that misinformation. And for the small and medium companies, this is a losing battle, because you need armies of experts to study, armies of experts to read. Current AI doesn't solve this problem. Typical statistical AIs doesn't solve this problem, because statistical AIs look for the repeated pattern. So you have a pattern, you train the AI, and then AI finds the repeated patterns like your face recognition. It doesn't do anything more than that. So what we are offering is that unsupervised AI. That is, unsupervised AI is to search is what diesel engine to the transportation. Let the machines do the heavy lifting, and then let the machines do the 90%. The humans can do the rest of the 10%. So what we are doing is that reducing the need for searching and reading. If you get what you want in the first try, or if you can see what all the things are going on, then it is easy for somebody to understand what is going on, rather than they are reading 1,000 papers at a time. It, our AI, as it is unsupervised AI, it works on any language, so that there is no need for to train, or even there are European languages, and other languages doesn't have that much amount of a data set. Only English has, because the English has a focus, English has been the research area. So how to do if you have a combination of these things, or even if you get a spam or something, how do you even filter it out? And our AI produces readable and explainable results, so that you don't have to bang your head to understand why the AI is producing this. One of the major thing adapting the AI is people to trust the results. So how do you trust the result? If you don't know why the results are coming out, you cannot trust, but our AI can show you why it is even making the decision. What is the business, what the business get? These are all technology. So what is the business get? Is that our AI saves 90% of the time and cost spent on not only in the search, both on information retrieval. So what is the market? We actually concentrate on untapped, unmet markets. If you see that today the competition landscape or the AI landscape, the big tech companies dominate it, and the big tech companies create the AI for their own needs, recommender engines, or facial recognition, and so on and so forth. But if you go and see what actually the business need, say for example, if you're a life sciences company, if you're running a clinical trials, you need to find out which clinical trials were stopped in a stage 2, and which molecules you can use it, something like that, which you don't know. Once you figure that out, the information, you don't need to train an AI to do that once more time. You need to find out some different molecule, or some different case study in order to focus on. And these models doesn't even come in cheap. If you look at GPT trade, it starts, the whole thing starts from $1 billion. Even a normal models cost anywhere between a 500K to $1 million. And that is for a one run. If you try a few runs, the price tag exceeds $10 million, which SMEs and small other businesses cannot even afford. And not only that, they cannot even find a talent. So if you are trying to fine tune, if you are trying to tag and train, this is a losing battle, and that is where natural text comes and fills the gap. So what is the competitor challenge? So today, I know everybody says that AI is thrown everywhere. So where we stand and what we do. Typically, if you go for any AI or ML, this will be a statistical AI, and you have to take the data, clean it up, train, tag, train, and tune, and it cannot rank the document. So if you see information and you need to rank the information, whether this information is more pressing, or is it more popular, or is it more needed, or is it more has content, and so on. And the current AI, you can see that this code is open source, but the problem is that you can have your code, but in order to put into the production, there is a lot of work is needed. You need a hyperparameters, so on and so forth, which is you have to train and node. It is something like you are getting a radio without a knobs. You have to solder the knobs and figure it out which station to tune. And other competitors, if you see, these are all something like a marketing gimmick. It comes with an AI edition tag, but under the hood, it's all else code. So what we are offering in an actual thing is that we offer packaged binary for the company so that their data doesn't leave their system. It is safe and secure. A simple pricing based on size of the data analyst, and we also offer hosted SaaS. And as with the results can be explained and readable, the results can be integrated to existing application. They don't have to start from scratch. So what will be our target market? We target on three areas. One is life sciences, other is legal, contract, patent industry. Other is a general companies where we do this sentiment analysis and that kind of data handling work. So if the company wants to classify the information or categorize and search, that is the abstract sense, but we target on SMEs, CROs, consultants in the data processing. So what is our current situation? We are still bootstrapped. We are still in pre-revenue and getting into the campaigns and reaching it out. One of the things is that Corona did a lot of damage because a lot of companies stopped experimenting with this. They have pressing needs to get into this work from home. They have to change their entire work culture. So there is a lot of experimentation stopped. Companies now restarting it. We are seeing a full trend of having it right now. We are working in a pharmacovigilance company. We are close to starting a licensing deal, which will be we will be analyzing the whole thing, whole gamut of the things. So right now we are seeking funding for marketing product development. Oscar's $250K at $1.5 million valuation. I would prefer to raise it as a debt instead of equity preference. What is our team? Myself, I am the CEO and inventor. I have 2 decades of experience in software creation. My analytics comes from my understanding of Sanskrit and Tamil, which are the only 2 languages which has a codified grammar. Amiris Gucic is our CEO, designer, and a legal expert, and all else for our company. He is based on US, and the company is registered in US. Sarana Prasad, based on Chennai, is a VP of Business Development. Elliot Bucher, a mentor and advisor, is a NLP expert. So that's it. Finally, thank you. And if you are looking to categorize, classify, and search your data in a low cost and a very efficient time, Natural Text is here to help you. And I open the floor for questions.
Thank you, Raja Sankar. Thank you. One warm applause for Indian guy.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Any question for Raja Sankar? Here, we have 2 questions. Let's go with the lady first.
Well, thank you for the presentation. First question is, do you have some example, visual or whatever to see the exact results of the work of the platform?
Yeah, sure. I have the results. I can bring it up. Give me a second. Can you see the results here? Do you see it?
Yes.
Yeah. Can you see the results?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So here's a formal research example one. So something like this is unsupervised learning. So these are all article titles from the PubMed. So what it is trying to find it out is that which genes and uh, what are all the actions, they call it as the something is called actions. So what genes are doing what things in which there. So you can see these genes are characters of polymorphic, and then it's bioavailability, and then there is other gene, it is also polymorphic, but it is uh, affecting the hypertension. There is another gene ENOS, then it is also affecting hypertension. So these are all the kind of relationships we try to find out, dug it out from the data. So unsupervised, no goal set, it is running wild and trying to find. This is one example. The other example will be something like, I will go to the clinical trials. So clinical trials, this is another example where we are trying to find out what are the clinical trials which has same inclusion criteria or same exclusion criteria, and what kind of the molecules or what kind of the conditions, medical conditions they put in. So this is the one. There is the other one, they are trying to have some kind of this, which adverse events or which severity they are trying to take. This is from the clinical trials org ID. That is a US government website. So we download the data in bulk and process it, pre-process it, and feed it to the algorithm. So there are other things too. So you can see here, there are other things how we are trying to do. Other things we do is like trying to find a gene and drugs relationship, something like if there is a gene and if there is a biomarker, what is the relationship with the biomarker, and this is, and then goes on. So what we do with the data is that trying to find out unknown information and give that final information to the researchers, and then they will do some kind of analysis and see what they can take and what they can reject. Usually something like they will accept 80 to 90% of the things coming out.
Hey, Raj, this is Serge. So a few comments and then a question. First of all, I really had a hard time understanding you, so I didn't capture everything, but I really didn't understand at what phase your product is, and your UI certainly needs some work. So my question would be that. And the other comment would be, I wouldn't use the Berkus method. People don't even know what it is. I think you should take a look at similar companies and valuations and then extrapolate from there. Because Berkus method is like 30 years old. So that just piece of advice on that. And just talk a little bit slower next time so people can follow.
Sure. Thank you.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, we talked about that, but this is something always. You didn't answer the question. And what stage is your product at?
My stage is it is in used by the customers right now, so it is fully developed. It is available in the market. Is it answer the question?
You should try to find contacts at Cognizant, which is an Indian company, does a lot of life sciences work in the United States, and that's where all the research is being done, basically, in terms of whoever has money. It's mostly the U.S. pharma companies.
Yeah, we do work with a few of the US pharma companies right now. Currently, we also are talking to some of the Indian companies, including Tata Science, TCS too. They have their own things. We are also working in the evaluating with the Wipro. So yes, I will take that feedback and will try to contact CTS.
Okay, thank you, Rajasankar, for the presentation, for the answers, and looking forward to see what other achievements you will have in the future. All the best.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks a lot, Zito.
Okay.
Thanks for this, and thanks for Incubator to having me.
Okay, Mr. Popper, Dino, are you ready? Come here. You're not ready. That's great. Don't problem. You will be ready. So do you turn the channel when the commercials start? You know, you're watching football and you turn the channel because you don't want to see the commercials. What if you have something to keep your attention on the commercials? So the guys from Mr. Popper are doing something to change your mind during the commercials. So Dino.
We will do our best. Thank you all. So I'm not Mr. Popper. My name is Mr. Dino. So, and where is my presentation, Mr. Sven? After the commercials. So the commercial break is on. We still see. Okay, so my name is Dino and I'm part of Mr. Popper team, and this Mr. Popper is interactive video platform. And okay, when it comes to video world, the TV is still the king. As Željko said, we all watch different sports events, live TV shows, and we want big screen. The bigger, the better. So the TV is still the king. But that big screen has a big issue because 90% of people are not paying attention, and mostly when the TV ads come up. So broadcasters and TV advertisers have a big problem with that distracted users. And the most distraction comes from that small little device that all of you are using on everyday basis, and that's called mobile device. And that's a big problem for brands. They're giving a lot of money to advertising their commercials, but you are not paying total commitment to their ads. Also, there is a secondary issue that we saw, and that's that brands have more and more loyalty apps or brand apps, and that's very popular today. Every brand has his own app, and you maybe download it, but you don't use it or you don't use it actively. So how can we connect that two issues and resolve them in one shot? Let me introduce you to Mr. Popper, and let me let me show you what his solution is.
A prize is rewarded. If you prize, incapable of just application rush all that good because events on the main screen are synchronized. This above this. Well, the user will just to grab the Mr. Popper, a second screen that works.
Thank you, Mr. Popper. So you saw the solution. We are turning video ads into fun interactive game, something like Pokemon Go, but for TV ads. Our goal is obviously to increase video ads view share and also the viewing time on the first screen. The secondary goal is mobile app growth, because we are aiming to be part of brand apps. We are not developing our own brand app, but we are going to be an add-on to the brand apps. So you need to have a brand app to play the game and to catch Coca-Cola, Nike, or McDonald's things. And the final goal is big data monetization. Our market is 159 billion US dollars, and that's expected in 2022 global revenue from TV advertising. we are aiming for brands who wanna longer brand exposure and who wanna win back those distracted ad users. Also, we want to aim at TV broadcasters, IPT platform, media producers, because we want to offer them a new interactive marketing channel for their audience and for their advertisers. Market opportunities, we are certain that the time is right for the second screen. You all know that third-party data collapse is coming, and that's very close to the Google announcement that in next year there will no longer be third-party data, and that's a big issue for marketers because they will not longer follow you so closely and spy on you what you are doing on the internet. And this is our opportunity for the first and second party data to do this. Also, our closest competitor is a company that has a lower level of product than us and has a different business model than ours. We are now seed phase and we have a prototype, working prototype, but we want to develop an MVP, and we are seeking for strategic partners who has tech resources, the market, and ideally both, or for somebody who will help us to build this to the MVP phase. So we see our revenue in 3 streams. The first one will be in the first year, and we will charge the brands per campaign. In the second year, we want to build a platform from our MVP and charge it on a monthly basis, software as a service solution. As you can see on the graph, we see the biggest explosion when we monetize all that new interesting data that we collected during the years. The team behind this project is Tomislav, Darko, and I. Tomislav has a big knowledge in video producing, and he's currently working in one of the top 3 Croatia's TV houses. Darko and I are partners in our full-service digital agency called Unilink Digital, and we are focused on performance marketing. So all of us 3 are helping Mr. Popper, who is our team leader, and he is saving the first screen from all the distractions that are coming his way. Thank you.
So, question for Mr. Dino. Here, Dragana, yeah.
Can you share some kind of a launch plan? Where are you when the first partners? Is there some testing in progress, and what will happen next?
So yes, we have a letter of intent from one of the biggest Croatian company for sweets, and they are ready to test this out with the first campaign. And the good thing is that they're just changing creatives. They don't need an extra budget to do this. So we will test it with them first, and we have letter of intent from them. So that's the first campaign, and when you see the sweets coming on ads, that's us.
Some more question? Online? No. Mr. Dino, thank you for the presentation. Yeah, maybe you were too interesting. Okay, so Hrvoje, can you come here? So if you are Real Madrid or Barcelona or Manchester United, you can get all the data in the world. You can take SAP, Microsoft, I don't know, whichever platform you want. You can pay them tens of millions of dollars and get the data for your players. But what if you want to open these data platforms to everybody? And what if you can help all the sports in the World Sports Club to get the data and to upgrade your teams? The guys from Ultrax, increase the value. Okay, and Hrvoje will tell you how they plan to do that. Hrvoje, please.
Thank you, Željko. So hi, I'm Hrvoje, but this is not my story. This is a story about Marko, our sports scientist. Basically, Okay. Through his whole career, he faced shortage of funds for high-end equipment, and his story is not unique in Croatia or in the world. Uh, Nevertheless, Croatia produced some of the world's greatest athletes. So the problem is that 99% of sport clubs do not have access to high-tech digital tools because they are too expensive or they don't even exist. Most of the athletes and coaches use notebooks and spreadsheets to manage their data. What we want to do is to collect a lot of data to power our machine learning tools. And this data needs to be valid, diverse, and needs to come from grassroots amateurs all the way to top 1% of athletes. Just a second, top 1% of athletes, yeah. With the data as our main selling value, we can then optimize the software, and we can optimize and enable anybody to start collecting data and analyzing. This is also why we optimize the production cost of wearable hardware device that's placed on the athlete and and then he's tracked on the field. With this all data, then you can optimize performance, manage training log, predict talent, prevent injuries, and etc. So Ultrax is not market first, but current solutions are too expensive. For instance, one wearable hardware device costs from 3,000 to 5,000 euros. One software license costs from 60 to 100,000 euros per year for one club. Basically, the question is why are they so expensive? Because they can, and they are targeting only top 1% of clubs. With massive adoption of our solution, we aim to collect undiscovered data sets, monetize them, and help little coaches and little clubs. Our business model is relatively simple. We have hardware rent, software subscription, and monetization of all this collected data in sorts with data analytics and predictive models. We talk to a lot of potential customers, and basically everybody tells us that they needed such solution yesterday, but they couldn't afford it. Our system is designed for all sports, but currently we are mostly focusing on football. We started the talks and we are developing a system for Dinamo Zagreb, FC Nürnberg, Croatian Football Association, and lastly, newly addition to this is Ljubicic Tennis Academy. So who is on our team? Two Hrvats, one professor, one developer here, and Marco, sports sciences from the beginning of our story. Between us, we have two PhDs, one successful company, what else? One domain expert, of course, and lots of experience. This is our plan for this year, next year. Currently, we secured 100,000 euros of investment for MVP development without equity. And we are not seeking investment, but we are preparing for one possible investment next year. And if you want to become a part of some new sports success story, contact us.
Thank you, Hrvoje. Did Dinamo try this software before yesterday game? And that's why they play good. I don't know. Maybe they are.
They tried a lot of software, but currently they're in final talks with us, and they didn't try before the game. We need to collect all the data that they have. Basically, they have discrete systems that they're using to collect data, so it takes time.
Okay, so like they play yesterday against Graz, they will play in 2 years against Barcelona. Yeah, of course. So a question for Hrvoje. No, oh yeah, Sturgeon.
So are you saying you're capturing the data through a piece of hardware that's on the athlete? And then your software is basically extrapolating that data and doing the analytics?
So basically, if I haven't been clear enough, we have two products. One is software for noting players, how to say it, stats during day to day. Basically, they have app players. They have app that they use to tell how the training was, how the exertion was, what color of their piece was, etc. This software then collects all the data and presents to coaches, managers, and everything. But the other thing that we noticed is that coaches or managers of little clubs that have, I don't know, 5 million euros monthly or yearly, sorry, budget. They don't have access to high-tech digital tools for collecting data on the field during practice, during testing, and everything like that. So basically, there are two products. One is for only keeping track of the players by manually inputting data, and another is automated with our hardware device that's placed on the field and on the player.
What the products are. So what's the software, hardware actually?
So basically, the software is one dashboard that's accessible via I don't know, Firefox or Chrome and anything like that. And hardware is one box that's placed the vest on the back of the head of the player. That's the one thing, and it tracks location, inertial data, time, everything. Basically, our first goal is now to make a diagnostic hardware, or finishing the diagnostic hardware that's placed on the field and on the player, and you have 70 plus battery tests that you can then put athlete on and then track his data in, I don't know, every 3 months, every 6 months, every year.
Is Ox tracking any biometric data?
Current solution is that it tracks, as I said, location and inertial data, and it has Bluetooth capability to connect to heart sensors, that polar things that's over the waist. So basically, we have that possibility, and the next step in our development is breathing and heart rate, but our own device that works on a resistive method and not on this. I don't know how to say it in English, but basically it's other method that's more accurate and better for moving player.
You mentioned the piece of hardware on the field. Can you explain what technology it uses and what exactly?
Basically, I can talk about this for 7 years because I developed it. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, basically it's based on ultra wideband technology. On the field, we are placing 3 poles with 6 nodes and 1 node on the player. And basically that node on the player tells these 6 nodes where it is, and then we transfer data over Wi-Fi to laptop, tablet or anything like that. Movement and inertial data. So basically, I don't know if they're making a high-speed pass. I can detect that if 2 players are communicating more than other 2 players and everything like that.
Okay, thank you, Hervé. Interesting question. You can find Hervé later here when we have. See you. Okay, we have 2 more presentation, and then for the ones who are not online, we have some great tastings here. And you're online, I don't know if you send the address, maybe if somebody left something for you, we can send it. So we are going to Slovakia, but he's a French. Did you ever come across a lousy web page? And totally lousy user experience, and you don't know where to click, how to click, why to click. Well, they didn't test it well, and even if they try to test it, sometimes you don't get the best results. So we have Jean-Luc from the UX Mining, and they are solving this problem with AI. So Jean-Luc, do you hear me?
Yes, and do you hear me and do you see my
Because
screen?
we don't hear you yet.
Okay.
We can hear you online.
Yeah, of course. Sleeping mode.
Do you hear
Just
me?
a second.
Online, we can hear you. I think it's just
Yeah,
there.
we can hear you.
Right.
Okay, go.
Okay, so we are from Poland, just a small modification.
Yeah,
on,
sorry from
No
Poland.
problem. Okay, so you don't know about it yet, but right now you are having a user experience, meaning that you are trying to understand information that I'm bringing you via a digital interface. So this is called user experience or UX. On my side, I don't have any feedback, so I don't know if this small trick on the screen right now is amusing you or is making you annoyed, or maybe you didn't even notice it before I say it. And if I ask you right now what you think about it, your answer will not help me to understand because it might be bias. So at UX Mining, this is what we are trying to sort out. And we are passionate about affective computing, which is a branch of artificial intelligence for emotion. So why do we think we want to do that? Because we think we can impact the UX market with emotion. Why? Because emotion matter in business. So customers that are emotionally connected to their to a brand or to a product, they are buying more. And we have in history with Facebook, with Apple, the big success that they were having. There was product before they arrived. There was phone before Apple. There was social network before Facebook. But what they have done is that they have focused on the user experience, and this is the base of their success. And today, still, there is company like in the SaaS area, like Figma, that are making revolution on their market, the design market, disturbing a big player like Adobe. So this is a market that is growing fast because people have started to understand that with 18% growth per year. And especially that each time you invest $1 in UX, you have $100 of return. So this seems amazing, and everybody should do UX basically. So let's click on the UX button to see what is happening. What is happening is that there is a bug, and you click on 4 buttons at the same time. Because UX is expensive, it's time consuming, you need an expert, and this expert should have good intuition and a big experience. And if not, you are in trouble. So what we are doing at UX Mining is that we provide a simple site solution where you can define the test that of your website or application with question and task. You send an URL to your testers, and they do the test when they have time, so not online, not on live. And then when they have all finished, you receive a report that is per task, giving you which emotions were seen and how long they did do to the task and so on. So you can identify which user were having trouble with your application. And when you can go one step deeper and have a look at the video of these people, so the webcam and the screen, and the video is tagged with the important moment in order that you don't watch all the video. And you can see where they were looking with eye tracking. So you see where they look, what emotion they are doing, and you have in addition a system of noting where you can put your highlight and your analyze. Then you can share after with your stakeholders in order to take the right decision. In addition to the insight, we are also giving value by reducing the time from 3 weeks for doing testing to 2 days of work. And our customers are companies that are already doing UX. They are having business critical online. So for them, it's important that UX is working well. And we are looking at people that already track the UX with seriously. Of course, we have competition on this market. How we differentiate is by the detection of UX and the creation automatically of the analysis. Our competition have started to use emotion, but what is happening is that the emotion they are using is standard technology that are on the market, and they are not matching the UX case because when you are in front of your screen, you are not reacting the same as on the real life or if you are watching a film. So these technologies are not working well, and it's well documented in the literature of scientific literature that is not working well. So our secret sauce is to add several existing technology together, to mix them and to add some spice to it in order to make it applicable to the UX case. What we are bringing with that is that we are creating a new category in the UX research, because we are able to create the test at the same speed as you develop the software. So you can integrate UX inside your development process. And this is changing totally the organization and the way you can produce software. Our team is very diverse. So we are diverse in education, in experience, so academic and field experience on the AI, and also in the culture. So because we have 3 countries in the team. At the moment, where are we? We are we have been receiving a pre-seed in order to finish to develop our MVP. That will happen in about 4 months. And we are testing, we have a list of 60 beta testers from a different type of each segment. So in UX agencies, freelance and big SaaS. And we are working with them in order to achieve the good result. So thank you to Bert for helping us to reach this stage with a good mentorship and a lot of experience in the team.
Yeah, thank you, Jean-Luc. And congratulations once again for recent investment. We hope to see you much more of this in the future. Any question for Jean-Luc? Nobody. I think you explained it very, very well. Any question online? So if you want to join the team and try to how the UX working with them and with AI, just go through us, or you can call these guys directly in Poland, not in Slovakia. Sorry once again for this.
No problem.
Mistake. Yeah, a lot of things going on here. Sorry. Okay, thank you, Jean-Luc. And now,
can I ask a question?
Yeah, of course.
Thanks. Very briefly, so how many, maybe you mentioned, how many clients or users you already have?
So we are pre-customers, so we are not having paying customer. We are doing our test. We have a beta list of 60 testers, but we didn't want to go straight away with the 60. So we are working with about 10 of them. We have been doing some tests with about 10 of them for the moment.
Okay, and these are the testers of your app, or these are potential companies that could buy?
They are potential companies. They are potential customers.
Okay, thanks. Great.
Yeah, thank you, Tom, for the question. And now this, live long and prosperous, and these guys really want you to live long and prosperous. They have a vision how to do that, and we leave them to the end until the end, because we think they're stars in these incubators among the others, but they really excel in what they do. There's Bruno with us. I don't know what he prepared, because I always like to see with what he can amaze me this time. So Bruno, please come here. And he's the last, but not the least. Here is it, Bruno. One warm round of applause for Bruno.
Thank you, Željko, and thank you for not setting a high expectation for me. So I'm the last one before the food, so I will try to keep the pace up. But before I start, I would like to thank Željko, Sven, and Dražen for organizing this. I'm really deeply grateful. So today I'm going to present Cidrani, or as we like to call it, the gut company. As you probably know better than I do, these are elements of pitch deck. Above this, pitch should look nice and have all the fancy charts. However, today it won't be neither about the aesthetics, neither about the form. I think that I'm not wrong when I say that we show that we know how to do a good pitch. In fact, we won on 2/3 of all pitching competitions we appeared on. Just last week, Nika won EIT a Clim Accelerator, and 20,000 euros grant. So what is this going to be about? About real questions, not so comfortable, and the ones that I would like to know if I would be an investor. So let's go a step further. Let's talk, are we going to persist? Because it would be normal not to. Is our problem real? Where is the money? Who is going to execute it? Do we need AI? And again, since we are talking with VC funds, where is the money? So this guy in the middle is my father. On the left is me. On the right is my sister Mirta. He was my hero, really strong guy, as you can see, lifting 180 kilos in bench press, having thousands of friends, always some fancy cars, loud. He didn't smoke, he was relatively healthy. But a couple of years after this photo was taken, I found him in his apartment, laying down on the floor. He had a severe stroke. I carried him on the couch, put the tongue out of his mouth, and called the ambulance. In that moment, my sister came to house, just from the school. Out, out, I yelled. Just that she doesn't see what's happening, but she saw it. He was 10 days in coma. He survived. The stroke that only 1 in 10,000 people survives, but not without the consequences. It devastated the whole family, and it really affected me. So it affected me so much that in next 10 years, I did quite a few things. I started some businesses, invested quite some money in a couple of thousands of hours in education about vitality, well-being, biohacking, went to masters to London, bankrupted in the meantime, and had two startup attempts. And I had only one key takeaway from this. And because of that key takeaway, I was ready to sell my businesses, come back to Croatia. Nika was ready to sell everything she has, and we invested up to last penny, 200,000 euros in Sidrani. And that one thing is, we can defy aging only by our lifestyle. Here you can see me with high performance coach Robin Sharma, spiritual teacher Moji, sparring with Jelko Mavrovic, etc. So yes, we're going to persist, and we are here to stay. Let's talk about the problem. This is Nika's slide from the last presentation that she won, but that nobody understood. So let's say it again. Metabolic syndrome is 3 times more common than diabetes. Statistically, 6 people have it here, and only 2 are metabolically healthy. I'm one of them, so your odds just got a bit smaller. But let's make it simple. What is metabolic syndrome? So if we prevent metabolic syndrome, we will prevent aging, but not aging as we think about it. But aging is a curable disease, because aging is a curable disease, and World Health Organization is going to start treating it as such in the next couple of years. So the problem is here, but it's also huge potential and huge market. Now, let's talk about the money. So now I will tell you something crazy. So crazy that if somebody came to you in 1993 and told you internet is going to be huge, it won't be only for universities. It will change the human mind. So crazy. And I'm telling you that longevity is going to be the biggest industry in history of humankind. And it's going to disrupt humanity. Not in a way Uber or Booking.com did, but in a way that Fire, Wheel, or Frontal Cortex did. And if you don't trust Ray Kurzweil, Forbes, or me, just look where Big Four are pouring their billions, and why Switzerland, Israel, Canada, Sweden, and Norway are lobbying that actually aging becomes officially a disease. Let's look where the most progressive VCs are investing today. So this is January, really early stage. They use off-the-shelf continuous glucose monitor, and they're making an app around it, 20+ million. Very, they use it from the same producer because there is only one. Early stage, 12 million. Zoe, they use it only for clinical trial, but anyways, 50 million plus. Viome, a bit different. They buy off-the-shelf microbiota and vaginal samples, and 80+ million, really early stage. Or take care of They were sold to buyer for 225 million, and they have only simple quiz. So yes, money likes longevity and longevity likes money. When you do a blockchain startup, always people ask you, how are you going to use blockchain? When you do an AI startup, they ask you, how are you going to use an AI? We're going to use it to diagnose, to personalize, and to keep the persistence. The future of medicine is preventive. And if we want to prevent something, we need to personalize. If we want to personalize it, we need to measure it. If we measure it, we gather the data. AI is future of health 5.0. But the biggest implication of AI is going to be in a couple of years when we will be able to lower the level of invasiveness of diagnostic tools only with AI and with software. So who is going to execute this? What I learned in the last 33 years is that no man is an island. We cannot do anything alone. So please look at the most important slide today. This is team of A players, high performance, and world-class mentors. And together, we are ready to reinvent the Apple. When I say Apple, I mean $1 trillion company. This year, we tripled our revenue. We already doubled the team, but the most important, we gain our clarity. And what we have a promise for the next investor is in 2 years, 6x valuation, 7x in revenue, but the most attractive thing, in the next 5 years, we want to achieve gross margin higher than 80%. And if we do, we will have it highest in the industry. And then our valuation multiple will be in 3-digit numbers. It's a big promise. And for big promise, we have some asks. We are aware that for every $500,000 we want to raise, we need to talk in average statistically with 100 investors. And with all of them, we will ask for 3 things. First, that you have a gut feeling that you want to bet on this team that will win in a longevity game. Second, if you do have a gut feeling, then we would ask you, do you have decision power to invest 1.2 million, preferably in convertible note? And last but not least, we call it Sidrani investors qualities. And we also ask that you have at least 4 out of 6 of them. So please feel free to reach out. You are ready to make the Apple of longevity with us.
I see you connected some electricity to your stomach. Yeah, okay. It keeps you awake. I know you're amazed, but is there any question for Bruno right now? Who wants to live forever, or maybe at least 120 years for now? They're still processing this. Yeah, Mark.
Well, thank you for the very refreshing presentation. My question would be that, well, first the comment is that the health industry is very big, very sophisticated. The competition is very intense. What sets you aside from the competition? What is your competition and what is your added value in comparison to it?
Thanks for the question. Yeah, it's becoming a huge industry. It's still growing, but I think that our main key competence is that we are narrowly focused on gut microbiota, because up until now it was black box of medicine, of humankind. Nobody knew what's happening there. Okay, all traditions, they were talking about it, but nobody actually knows what's happening. And we think that we are biological machines, spirituality aside, so that we can figure out the algorithm. If we can do that, we can translate our gut feeling, and that is what we are focusing on. And we are doing it for female, so it's also our narrow focus, because our current customers are women 30 to 39 years old, and there is 6 times higher chance of them getting metabolic syndrome in pre-menopause period.
I think you got the answer here.
So you said that you're probably one of the 2 healthy people here, and you are all about longevity. So how old are you? No, that's not the question. That's not the question. The question is, okay, you are looking for 1.2 million, if I'm not wrong. So what's next? What's that 1.2 million for?
You spent 1.2 million, Bruno.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, it's a great question. So we can go to that slide. More of half is going to be basically in R&D, in development. So we are not going to burn it. We are going to invest it in active part of our balance sheet. So as you can see here, we will have a team of 15 people. We will have in the house development of the deep tech of courting, but we are going to outsource all the apps and everything fancy. There are people who are doing it much better than we are doing it. We are going to make clinical trial on 100 people. We already have mentors that we know how to do it with, and we will enter the US market. However, 1.2 million is not enough for everything mentioned here. We need approximately 2.5 millions. But we already have the revenue, and the revenue is constantly growing. So we are going to reinvest that revenue as well. So basically, our costs will be approximately 100,000 euros per month. Is it done?
I have an unfair advantage because I know your company, but I don't think you told all of us what your actual product today is and your sales to date, which I think is probably missing part of this. So do you want to just tell everybody about your product?
Thank you for the question. We prepared this a bit differently because we already pitched a couple of times in front of majority people. So we wanted to go one step further, not just to repeat, but I apologize for this. So at the moment, we made the first personalized essences in the world. We solved all the problems that kombucha market has, and it's emerging and growing market. And just from today, we have beta version of our quiz that is verified with psychologists. You can all try it out afterwards. And by the end of the year, we are going to implement stool sample, and with AI, look for overlapping between composition and diversity of our gut microbiota and our subjective personal feelings, and affect it with personalized essences that Nika is just bringing now here, there in this box. So this is my partner, Nika. She usually has much better presentation than I do, but I need to practice.
Can you please bring back the slide with the advisors, because Bojan wanted to take a picture of it and he was not able to do so. Because my question is about that and the slide where the advisors are. Oh. Okay, this one. And now the question, while they are taking a picture, is this is important slide because yeah, they are both doing taking a shot. How many people invested in your startup so far? Because I see you're looking for investors. You also have a manifesto, and how many people invested so far?
Okay, so it was one person, but if you look at this, there is a typo and you will see two, but no, Runia didn't invest. Somebody just by accident copy pasted. Here is our investor. His name is Georg Holmes, and he is a German angel investor, and he invested 300,000 euros. He is the only one. He did the pre-seed. We did before that 200,000, and now we are going for the seed round. Do I need to clarify anything else? Thank you.
So our Ronya don't know that he invested in you. we will tell him later.
If the company goes bankrupt, he doesn't know he has some shares inside, and then
yeah, you took some money from his account, but he wasn't watching yesterday in C6 party.
Just one more question. If I understood correctly, you also produce some kind of essence that you have to eat. That I presume it benefits your good bacteria in the gut or something. So what is the difference? I mean, the market with regard to this tablets, pills that you can eat and that enhance the good bacteria in your gut is also very developed. So what is the difference between your product and these products? Is it, I don't know, cheaper? Is it more personalized or?
Great question. Thank you very much. I didn't bribe you for this question, but so market is huge, but I wouldn't say it's developed. Basically, most of probiotics on the market today cannot go through our stomach because acidity from stomach, low pH, kills all the probiotics. Then you have a lot of strains, but usually if you put a lot of strains inside, the one that is multiplying fastest eats all the other strains. Then we have 100 billion microbiota bacteria in our gut, and we usually attack them with 1 billion good bacteria. So that's like sending one soldier to attack US. It's not realistic. But now there is emerging field in this part, and just this year, European Council for Probiotics and Prebiotics, they define what postbiotics are. And postbiotics actually what we have here inside. Postbiotics are metabolites, usually short chain fatty acids, enzymes, polyphenols that have benefits as probiotics if consumed enough, although they are not alive as we think about life, because life cannot go through stomach. So most of them have powders, have capsules, have pills, and nobody knows how they affect. What our product is doing, it's also lowering blood sugar levels. And high blood sugar level, constant, is related to 8 out of 10 most common death causes disease and metabolic syndrome as well. So we have our horse for racing here because, as also Huberman says, and as Dr. Sonnenberg from Stanford University showed this year, just in May, that consuming only 2 to 4 portions fermented food or beverages daily can dramatically decrease level of interleukin-6, these highly inflammatory cytokines. Translated, that means that fermented food is lowering the inflammation in the body, and inflammation is the worst consequence of Western diet. We are the first one who made this that actually you can ship it. Usually fermented food is smelly, it's in the glass, it needs cold chain shipping, so it's terrible for the environment. We have it in convenient packaging, like Nespresso-like, but healthy. Thanks.
Okay, thanks. I think this is enough because you can ask question. Bruno, there is some also Coca-Cola if you would like to drink it for you. No, thank you all for being part of this today. Thank all of you online for staying such a long hour, 2 hours, 1 and 45 minutes. So thank you a lot. I wish you'd come here because there are enough food for everybody, but next time. Thank you all for coming here and see you on the next demo day.